So we have at Mount Doom is first, and then Mirland is second. Um, GES, go ahead and say heads or tails for flipping the coin if you look at
Ahead.
my. Okay. All right, tails. So with that, the Empire, you guys get to decide whether you guys go first or last in the picking and the unit selection phase and in the band phase. Do you guys want to go first or last, Empire?
We'll
Anonymous.
go first.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll go first.
Okay, awesome. You guys will be going first. Now, if we can get into the band phase. Z, are you writing the bands down?
Yep.
Okay, awesome. So, let's start with the Empire. Empire, please ban a faction.
Okay. We are going to ban Losanak.
All right, Lossernach is being banned. GS, please go ahead and ban a faction.
Mordor.
Mordor is being banned by GES. All right, pulling it back to the Empire. Empire, go ahead and ban your final faction.
Anorian.
Enorian. Okay, being banned by the Empire. All right, GS, go ahead and ban.
Dunlandings.
Dunlending, some very interesting bans. Okay, okay.
I'm going to play as the Dolamroth, the original from Last Breath.
Awesome. Okay, with that, GES, one of you go ahead and pick a faction.
Pinath Galen.
All right, Pineth Gelen. Empire, Anonymous, go ahead and pick a faction.
Umbar.
Umbar. Okay, okay. And 1133, go ahead and pick a faction.
He's gonna
Yeah.
pick Lebanon.
Gotcha. And he's talking with you on the phone, but he can't actually speak on Discord, right? Okay, GS. I know you only have one representative here, so it's kind of hard to talk to us about all this. So just quickly going into this match, some quick thoughts, how confident you're feeling, what your strategy is.
I mean, I was pretty confident before, but then they banned Losanach and they took the Lamrov, which we were supposed to play, so that's
Oh,
not very
really?
nice.
So they took both the factions you were going after.
Yeah.
Dang, that sucks.
Yeah. I mean, it is what it is. Let's see.
It is what it is. Okay. So, a little bit unsure, but you feel like you can bring it back then.
Yeah, of course.
All right, awesome. I love to see it. All right, we are going to move to the Empire, get their quick thoughts underway, and then we'll get into the match. Go ahead and build your guys' armies.
All right.
Invite to speak. Invite to speak. Okay, Palpatine, if you want to join up with Morgoth. And what are you guys feeling? Quick thoughts, don't need to go super in depth. How are you feeling? What's your strategy going into this?
Well, this game is going to be certainly interesting. Both teams are decent players, so I'm looking forward to provide some good entertainment for this tournament's finals.
Yes. I would like to say, in terms of faction picks, bans, we got exactly what we wanted. We also expected they would go with Peanut Gillen and Lebanon. Well, Lebanon was less expected, but Peanut Gillen was quite expected. Just because it's a very staunch faction, so on the defense is very good. However, we think we have the tools to crack it. In terms of land battle, we should definitely have the superiority.
Okay, so your predictions going into this match is you guys will win the land battle and be attacking in the siege battle. That's your prediction.
Yeah, but we'll only barely win. I think it's going to be a hard fight.
Okay, all right. I look forward to seeing it. It's going to be exciting. You guys head over to Team 1, build your armies, and ready up. Okay, with that, going into this match, looking at the Team Z, what are your thoughts?
I think we're seeing a pretty meta pick from Empire since we have seen a lot of Umbar throughout the tournament. Generally, pretty good defending and attacking faction. Peneth Gelen, as Empire mentioned, is a pretty stout faction with their spears. They have pretty damn elite spears, to be honest.
Yeah.
Lebanon is more of a surprise, given I don't really have a good opinion on it. It's an alright faction, but I don't think it stacks up to the Empire's choice of Dol Amroth.
Yeah, looking at the factions that were picked, I've played with Palpatine and Morgoth quite a bit at this point. And this is, like he said, exactly what they want, exactly what they're going for. I think they are going to be in a very comfortable position. I know they've practiced and played a lot for this. So going into this match, they're going to be very well rehearsed on how to play this out. But like Morgoth said, this is going to be a very bloody fight, and it could be anyone's match. That being said, I do, slightly favor Morgoth and Palpatine's chances just because this is the exact situation that they prepared for.
I would have to agree. They're more prepared in this aspect, whereas GAS was kind of caught off guard by the bans that they did. I believe specifically that they mentioned Lossarnok.
Yeah, they really wanted Lossarnok, and Morgoth in particular was like, I am getting Lossarnok out of here.
I don't blame them at all from my personal experience playing Lossarnok due to the good shock and generally very good crossbows.
Yeah, no, in terms of Lossarnok, they're a really good all-around faction. They're decently priced, and they have like a 925 or something like that cost unit, which is a decent melee combatant, and it's a melee infantry, but they have a javelin that they can throw. And as the rules of the tournament, a unit with 3 or more ammunition is something that counts as a ranged unit, and since they only have 1 ammunition a unit, it does not count as a ranged unit. So if your line infantry is built of 120 guys a unit that all have javelins, and there's 6 line infantry, 120 times 6, you can do the math. I'm too lazy, but that's a lot of pointy sticks you get to throw at someone. So
this is indeed true.
Lossarnok,
One thing I will add is that the unit that you're talking about is capped, so that you can only take 3 of them, if I recall correctly.
Good to know. Good to know.
Granted, that is still 3 units of 120 men with javelins.
Yeah, I mean that's 360 javelins you get to throw, so it makes complete sense that they banned Lossarnok going into this.
One thing I will note, as I'm expecting to see GES on defense here, since the Empire just has a pretty massive advantage in the land battle with Umbar and Dol Amroth, I am expecting to see Penthgelen crossbows go up on Mirlan's towers, which our viewers will hopefully be able to see later on.
Okay, so you're saying if GES does indeed become the defenders, you think they'll be using those towers?
I do.
Okay.
It just makes strategic sense when you fall back to those points, due to the overlook that it presents. The only thing they have to worry about is their crossbows getting sniped by archers.
I think it's going to be pretty even in the range battle.
All right. Well, if you give me a moment, I'm going to take a look. I'm going to take a moment to observe Dol Amroth here, which so that Dante can direct his camera is this little section right here. As you can see, we have Prince's Marksmen. They are a decent bow unit. They're actually the only bow unit that they can bring. And we also have Pelargir Marines. Pelargir Marines also have the advantage javelins. They have 2 ammunition apiece. It's 155 men in each unit. They are locked to 3 per. They're also decent at melee. They're probably not going to stack up that well, but they're a pretty good unit to sit in an area and hold. In addition, we are seeing, I believe these are... Yes, they are Prince's Sergeants. They are really good anti-cav. They're the best anti-cav for Dol Amroth here. And we are also seeing Foot Knights of Dol Amroth. They're hyper elites. So it seems to me as if they might form a center using their Foot Knights and use that to take the brunt of whatever they have to throw at them, or use them as a attacking force. And of course, to cap everything off, we have Prince Imrahil of Dol Amroth with his Swan Knights.
A very devastating unit.
Now, we are doing this as the teams move units around, so excuse me if I miss a unit here or then. And now we're going to take a look at Umbar, since Umbar has kind of melded their archers with the Dol Amroth ones. We have Blackhaven Marksmen. They are a very, very good bow unit. They're medium armored. They have 200 range. which, although some may consider to be a standard, sometimes you might see that elsewhere, or where it's not expected. Generally, you can count on them to get the job done. Now for the cavalry that they have presenting, we have Rajam auxiliaries, shock cavalry, which what I'm expecting them to do is probably going to be trying to hide this on the flank and then loop around. That is a common tactic in the land battle, for those unaware. And for their general, since it is a Cav unit, we have Ar Belisagar, which is a very heavy melee cav. Generally very reliable when it gets stuck in. However, most of the time we don't see generals getting stuck in that much unless they absolutely have to.
One thing I'll note about our Belgazar, they're almost as good as Servants of the Eye. It is one of the best cav units in the game. So if you're gonna have a unit get stuck in, our Belgazar is one of the ones who can do that and stay alive, so long as he doesn't go into pikes or spears.
Now then, just to cover their spear unit, which it seems will be supporting their Haradrim auxiliaries, off here on the flanks here, they are a hyper elite spear unit. Very, very good. They have high melee attack, which is something that you don't really see with spears. They also have pretty decent melee defense in addition. On top of high, melee damage. Generally, you can definitely count on these guys to hold a choke point for a very long time. I would even consider it one of the best spear units.
Absolutely.
Just because it can get the job done, and it can also kill or cause so much casualties if you don't take care of it properly.
And then, of course, the crown jewel, the shock
The
units.
Aduna Kori.
The Aduna Kori. Look at him.
The Aduna Kori is a signature for Umbar. Honestly, I don't think I've ever seen somebody play Umbar without taking Aduna Kori.
Oh. All right, hang on.
Is
Let's
the timer
quickly. Technically, there's 40 seconds left, but I've heard 3 people hit start. So,
Yeah.
I'm just
There
going
we
to
go.
assume everybody was ready. I'm going to quickly do a quick overview of what GES is bringing. GES bringing a crap ton of cav, which is not a surprise. This has been their staple way of playing the entire time. They have lots of Lebanon riders. Now, I don't know Lebanon that well, so I'm not going to be able to comment on them. It seems like they're bringing lots of low-tier cav, but a lot of them. Let's see. Yeah, as we can see, Lebanon outnumbers. GES outnumbers the Empire by about 1,000. So they're going to be going for a very strong push. Both of these teams probably going to play quite aggressively. I do think it is going to be GES who's going to be playing a bit more defensively going into this. We have Lebanon bringing lots of archer units, all 200 range. I do think the archers of GES are lower quality than the archers of the Empire. I think Empire's archers, they all have the same range, but I believe that, no, some of them have 30 armor. Interesting. That's actually crazy that these units have 30 armor. That's really good. So maybe not. Maybe I'm speaking too soon. We'll have to see. Very little in terms of the land infantry, though. We can see they only have a handful of shock, a handful of sword melee infantry units, none of which are very high quality. A lot more spears. They're all very low-tier spears. Just militia spear that are clearly just there to support the cav and counter cav engagements. But again, this is they actually, I believe, do they have more? 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. No, I think they have overall probably brought lower quality than, maybe not. I don't know. What are your thoughts looking at this, like, different army comps? Definitely more cav.
I will say I do think that the GES brought lower quality here, just because we're seeing elite tier units from the Empire. I will add, in addition to your comment about the archers, the Empire definitely has better archers by far. Those Black Haven marksmen have 45 armor, and the Princess marksmen share a 40 armor.
Yeah, okay. So, big advantage here. You can see the Empire not being afraid to be very aggressive, going for this shock general. Didn't manage to get any hits, but they're letting them know, hey, we have our eyes on you. Yeah, that's so big advantage for the Empire here, having such better archers. And obviously, it's going to come down to, I think the Empire's biggest advantage here is the Aduna Kori and their archer units, and keeping those alive to do the damage they need to do to win this battle.
I would definitely have to agree with you here. I do expect, since we are seeing they're slowly pushing up their shock. Yep, and there it is. We're going to see the Blackhaven marksmen focusing down some of the shock infantry of Lebanon to try and limit the damage that they can do with it. One thing that would probably work out best for GES here is to probably just go for an encirclement. They have the numbers to do it. They have more cavalry. It all depends on if they can take care of the enemy cav and manage themselves well enough.
If we get a top-down view here, you can see, oh, this is currently what things are looking like. GES is kind of scouting with some units, but they're not encircling quite as much as I would have expected them to. We can see there are actually Haradrim auxiliaries are going in, and they're kind of gonna get chewed up here. They're getting absolutely chewed up by these Lebanon riders. Plus, the Lebanon riders are being supported by spears. This is not looking like a good cav engagement for the Empire at all. GES is having to send in. Okay, these Lebanon riders are probably going to get chewed up by the general unit. Quickly, both armies sending in units to reinforce. I'm not sure what the Empire's plan is here. The units are quickly crumbling. Who is controlling these? This is Anonymous controlling these. All the way over here, we can see the archers are now pulling back of the Empire as the onslaught of GES has begun, trying to get some charges off. This general is taking some major losses. If that general dies, that's devastating. Some cav having to be... I mean, just look at how aggressive this is. We are 5 minutes in, and the battle is just beginning.
This is in stark contrast to one of our previous matches where we didn't nearly see as much of action as this. I will have to clue in the viewers on this. We had a previous match where it was mostly just a Mexican standoff between both sides, as neither side really wanted to go at one another due to the position.
Yeah.
That being said, it does look like the Princess Sergeants here are just stuck into these Green Hill farmers and stuck here as the as GES pulls their cavalry back to go all around.
Ooh, these are about to be some very nice charges into some Aduna Kori. I will say GES using their cavalry very well so far. They're using their cavalry very well in combination with their spears. And this is something we've seen throughout the tournament. GES has spears buddy their cav. You know, their cav, they bring low-tier cav, which can be easily countered by higher-tier cav, but then they bring spear units, which are also just low-tier units, to help support them, making them a much stronger unit.
It does look like it is paying out pretty remarkably here. We do see that they're trying to whittle down the Umbar general here, Anonymous's general, cycle charging into their backs with Lebanon riders while swapping in between the Balkan gun. We are seeing Lord Sirgon also going up against Aduna Kori. I'm not sure if that is the play here, but it is the only unit that they seem to have spare. It is possible that this unit of Aduna Kori gets lucky and kills Lord Sirgon, but we will have to find out. The Balkan gun are finally routing a unit of Green Hill farmers and moving to support the Umbar general.
Yep.
It does look like Umbar is going to win out on this flank, if only barely.
Yep, over here, which was surprising. I thought they were going to lose that flank, but actually they've managed to, I think mainly because of the power of the Aduna Kori, and they were able to bring some spears over, they were able to win this flank. So if they can win this flank, maybe send them into their archers or into the back of these units here, that could be really big. Another thing, it seems like, the front line battle amongst the infantry is being decisively won by the Empire.
I will distract your attention for a moment as we are seeing Dol Amroth's general die in an encirclement.
Oh, no.
That left flank for the Empire has completely collapsed.
Yeah, that's crushing.
Does look like here we are probably going to see a conclusion fairly soon.
Yeah, the Empire need to quickly either kill an enemy general or need to start wrapping up this flank here and either destroying these archer units or collapsing this flank so these units can turn around. One of the two. Now, I'm not sure how good these archers are at holding off against some cav and melee. Gonna guess not the greatest.
It already seems as if one of the princes, or the prince's marksman unit, is going to rout immediately.
Mm-hmm.
It looks like they are already wavering after being charged once. That in addition, we are seeing the that GES is trying to focus down their archers in addition.
Yeah, and I mean, they're having some success now. Again, the Aduna Kori not getting as many kills as I would like. GES did what they should have done, which is play extremely aggressive and not give the Empire time to set up or defend themselves. The Empire did manage to clean up this flank, but now the archers of GES are turning and they are firing on the Empire, and anything this flank can do is basically nullified due to how weak they are. Okay, the Empire's sending up some infantry, but they're probably just going to run their units away from these infantry. Again, I don't know that sending the infantry after these archers is going to do anything other than get them slaughtered.
If anything, it might have been better to wheel a unit around and try and support over here. Maybe make things a little bit better. But it does look like GES is going to take the land battle.
Yeah, I mean, let's look at the unit count. Yeah, they've got about 1,000 more units than the Empire. And again, Palpatine's general there, Dal Amroth's general, Blue, going down, getting caught off. That was a massive error. Now, I will give Palpatine some credit. I believe, as far as I'm aware, he still is playing with a trackpad. This man made it.
So too.
That man made it into the finals playing on a trackpad. So being able to play at this high of a level with a trackpad is extremely impressive. However, I think we do see some of the limitations of that with, for example, his general standing there and getting killed as he's trying to do so many things all around the place against a very mobile opponent.
And as you can see here, I will point out that we did see Lebanon's general get routed, but it doesn't seem to have much of an effect on Lebanon.
No. One thing I'll say though, I mean, they still have some pretty full units, but the Empire is starting to kind of like bring their units back. These Aduna Kori are going to hold to the last man against these spears. So if we look at what GES has a bunch of archer units, which I think is part of why they have so many more units. I think the bulk of their unit count is actually over here. Their actual units that are going to do damage is really a spear unit and a cav unit, and the cav unit's basically depleted. So now they are breaking this Aduna Kori, which will be able to send their units over to help. And these archers have enough ammo that they're still going to lock it away. But I think it really was. It was still a very good attempt on the Empire's front, and I think there is a world where they bring this back. I really do. I don't think they're going to, but I think there's a world where they do it.
I think there is absolutely a world where they do it, especially if they manage to snipe the General Pinnoth Gellin. There's going to be entirely up. There's going to be pretty much a chance if they manage to kill Hirluin.
Yeah. And you can see that they were trying to, and the spears kind of managed to catch this general. And, yep, so now he's going to send him into him. If they had been able to catch this general and kill him a little bit earlier, then I think they could have done it, but now they're going to get routed off the field.
Now we're about to see a mass rout as they just break due to casualties and all of that. We are seeing this Foot Knight unit stay around for a remarkably long time.
Which is crazy. Both of these Foot Knight units are just... I mean, they're going to get cycle charged and killed here, but...
And they are going to start wavering. Before they rout.
They killed almost exactly 3,000 units.
That was a fairly interesting ground battle, I will say.
I think that was the fastest battle we've had so far.
I would definitely say so. For a ground battle, definitely one of the fastest ones we've ever seen.
Well done to both teams. Well done.
That being said, as we take a look at Umbar, they definitely didn't. They did not lack, so to speak, as the general has nearly 200 kills. Two of the Aduna Kori units are 238 and 274 respectively, with one coming at 127. The Balkan Migan came in about as you'd expect with 271 kills. Their archers did decently. The Haradrim auxiliaries really let them down, though. Barely any kills on the both of them. Maybe it would have been better to swap them out for a different unit.
Or just use them differently or something. Yeah, I mean, I'm not 100% sure. Again, It was quick decisions being made. That's the thing. You don't have a lot of time to make the decisions. But so after that match, what are we thinking? How are we feeling?
Our factions are not as great as we hoped they would be.
Okay. You say that, but you won. So what do you mean by that?
I mean, if we had the Lavrov and Lozanach, it would just be probably a walkover since the units are much better.
Mm-hmm.
But now, came down really close. Actions
Yeah.
are a bit too bad than we thought.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, there was a moment there where you guys had basically nothing but some broken spears and some archers left.
Yeah.
So that was very interesting to see, but you guys clutched it out. Now, do you think you're going to have a harder time going into a siege battle as the attackers here? Or do you think you're more confident going into the siege battle?
Nah, I'm not that confident going into the siege.
No? Okay.
Merland is not a very good map to attack on.
Mm-hmm. Well, I wish you guys the best of luck. We're gonna head you. Z is going to load up everything for the defending of Miralong and whatnot. You guys can head back to your VC and start building your army. We'll drag you on over there, and we're gonna talk to the other team. Ready up when you guys are ready to go.
And no, oh, there goes one. There goes the other one.
I'm just dragging everybody.
Yeah.
With that, what are you guys feeling after that match? It was very close.
Obviously, it's all the fault of the Emperor. He fucked up. Excuse me for the cursing.
Okay.
Nah, we kind of had a hard time microing the center because we had a bunch of infantry units just sitting about doing nothing really. I also completely forgot about my shock that was on the Emperor's side.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't really support him that well with my shock. I just sent him in and left him there.
Yeah.
I managed to win my cav battle, but
was
their archer
costly.
supremacy was just a bit. Yeah, it was costly, and their archer supremacy was just a bit too much.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then, not to mention, Palpatine's general did get killed about halfway through the battle.
Yeah, but so did Goat's general. I think we managed to basically neutralize Goat completely, except for his archers.
Okay.
And yeah, it was just Walaxel had too much left.
Mm-hmm. No, it was very close. It was very close. So, are you feeling confident defending this siege?
We're gonna try and hold the walls, but we have seen
Okay.
that Peanut Gillen has a very elite sword unit. Last battle it got 320 kills, so that's a bit concerning.
Yeah. You do have the better
But
archers,
I guess we'll
though.
see. Yeah, we technically do, yes, but even last battle, it seems that microing all of our archers is a bit of a difficulty for us.
Okay.
Our goal last battle was just to neutralize their archers in order to be able to win the infantry battle, which we managed to do, and then just hold the cavalry.
Mhm.
We were a bit late on winning the infantry battle. Well, we didn't even win it, so we kind of got overrun.
Yeah. Okay. Well, wish you the best of luck. Go ahead, build your guys' army comps, and ready up when you are ready.
Yes. Palpatine is in the audience and he has his hand up, so it seems he's trying to say something.
I invited him to speak.
So did I.
So if he wants to, he can speak. There you go.
There we go.
Palpatine, is there anything you want to
Alright.
add before we move you over?
Oh, just good luck to both of the teams.
Yeah.
And I
And
hope
good
we
luck to you
provide
guys.
more entertainment.
It has already been very entertaining. Just the level of aggression and how fast everything has been. Very entertaining.
Yep.
Absolutely.
All right.
I mean, in my opinion, Dante,
Mhm.
the speed of the battle just shows the experience of the players. It shows that we already know what we're supposed to do. We did the best we could. We ended up losing on micro, I think, and just getting overwhelmed on one side. But it shows that both teams are experienced and know what they're doing.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It was a great performance, and I think you guys will have an easier time now with the siege battles. I think that'll be a bit of a saving grace on that department for you, though. So I wish you the best of luck. Go and get in there, build your team, and ready up when you're ready. Okay.
All right.
Well, It'll be interesting. Do you think the siege battle will be a drawn out 40-minute engagement, or do you think it'll be a really quick thing like that was?
Okay. I think, depending on how they utilize their the assets at their disposal, this could be drawn out, or this could be really quick, depending on what they know about Mirlan. I know that the Empire has a lot of experience playing on Mirlan, so they probably know the map layout well. However, it didn't seem like GES was too confident in their chances attacking Mirlan.
Mhm.
That being said, we do have to remember with Umbar and their Balkaminagan, they can hold on for quite a while. And let's get underway with army comps.
Okay,
Would you like to go first?
Yeah, I'll start us off this time with how GES is doing. Okay, so GES, they are how many rams are they bringing? It seems to be just 2 rams, so they're not going to be trying to do any sneaky breaking down of a 3rd location. Also, it seems like when they did the update, they changed the trees here. They moved the trees here back. There used to be trees here in the older version of this map. I'm not going crazy.
That is true.
There used to be
You
trees
are
here, and the
not
trees are
going
now
crazy.
back
There
here,
used
which
to be
is
trees here.
there. Yeah, there used to. So for people who don't know, there used to be trees right here. Oh, I'm not streaming. Let me stream to Discord so people know what I'm talking about.
It's either that or misremembering Longalen.
Maybe. Am I missing? No. I'm
Because
like.
Longalen does have those trees here.
Oh, you're probably right. I'm mixing it up with a different map. That's what it is. Well, anyways, going into the actual army comps, focusing on lots of axe units. That's the one thing I'm noticing. Pineth Gallon bringing lots of axe units over here, and then a very nice all-around Gondor Elite Shock bringing much less shock, which makes sense because obviously this is a siege. They're still bringing more shock than I think most people would choose to bring. In total, they are bringing 4 shock units, or excuse me, 4 cav. I meant to say cav. They're bringing 4 cav units, which is more than most attackers bring. They're bringing a lot of shock units and a lot of axe units is something that I'm seeing, which is surprising. A lot of shock actually. So on their front, again, this kind of goes into my theory of them being an all gas no brake strategy. If you're bringing a lot of shock units, then you kind of have to play very aggressive, or your archers need to counter their archers first so that your shock doesn't get eaten alive. But that's what I'm seeing over on this front. How is it looking over on yours?
Now, on our front, I will add, just because of how Mirlant is, all of the defender units spawn in like a big old clump. So we're probably going to have to wait until they actually set up their defense for me to go through the army comp. However, it does look like they are not going to be holding this initial gateway. I think they're going to plan on putting units here and here and seeding this. But in addition, because they're giving this up, when they come down here to engage this unit, they have 4 units of archers here. They just shoot to their side or as they're approaching.
Yeah.
However, I would definitely say that GES here, with all of their riders, it's probably going to pay off for them. Because from my knowledge, except for the spears that have been brought, the best spears here are from Umbar. And I know Umbar has only brought 2 of them, I believe. So they are going to have to watch out for pikes and spears, obviously. But everything else is sword infantry. Which, as we know, cavalry versus sword infantry, cavalry will usually come out on top as long as they're cycle charging.
Yeah, and these are Lebanon riders. A lot of these guys are tier 2 shock cav, so they can't stay in melee. They need to get out.
And just so that a viewer is well aware, just in case they're not familiar with Total War, since we'll probably have people unfamiliar here, the act of how should I put this? The act of cycle charging is when you charge down a cavalry unit or any unit really. You let them sit in combat for about, I believe it was 5 to 10 seconds to make sure that the charge took full effect before pulling them back out and sending them back in.
Yep, so it's just cycling your unit in and out of charging into another unit. We got about a minute left on the army setup. Now, one thing that's interesting, a lot of people, if there's 3 gates, they try and attack all 3 gates. Now, this is a quite wide map. Usually, almost every single time what I see people do is they send an army down the far left gate and an army down the far right gate. And we're not seeing that here. We're seeing them kind of centralize on these 2 gates here. Do you think from the attackers, like, why do you think it is that they're centralizing on 2 gates and not spreading it out across all 3 gates, or at least across 2 far ends? Like, do you think it's a good idea, and why do you think they're doing it?
Okay. As for why they're doing it, what I think is they are going to prepare for the standard tactic that every defender will probably do, is they will always box up the square every direction, and probably usually put out a few units in every direction to just see what goes on. Do they have to worry about this section or something? But when they do this, it's still going to take time for them to shift units over.
Oh, real quick, Leo, if you could notify them that they can start. Sorry, go on.
They have to take the time to shift units. Other than that, if they break through somewhere, it might leave a gap if the defenders have shifted a unit. Also, it means that they can apply a lot more concentrated pressure rather than it being spread out all over the place. So this means that they might be able to perform a different tactic with cycle charging, which I will explain really quick. Is that you have a melee unit, and then you have your cavalry unit, or really 2 units of any kind. Pretty much it is pretty much just cycle charging except with 2 units.
Mm-hmm. You use an infantry to hold down the unit you're cycle charging so your cav can get in and out easier.
Yeah. Generally works out fairly well.
Mm-hmm.
Given the situation, I wouldn't consider it unusual if we see that tactic from GES here. They have the cavalry to do it. They definitely have the infantry units to do it. It's just going to be the manner of pulling it off.
Yeah.
And I'm going to start looking at the defenders here, since it seems that now they have spread themselves out. We are not seeing them hold the far left, really, that much. They do still have units here. We do see Tirathair Sentinels and Amarothian Watchmen coming out from Dol Amroth, to be expected. Amarothian Watchmen being a weaker spear unit, but still spears nonetheless. We have Foot Knights, Pelargir Marines from Dol Amroth. We also have the typical Prince's Marksman, alongside Champions of Doranel, which is a unit, or a fairly elite shock unit for Dol Amroth. And then from Umbar, we have Umbar Usurpers, a pretty good sword unit. We have Blackhaven Marksmen, as we expected to see. And we have Blackhaven Guard, Blackhaven Sentries. Blackhaven Guard being a spear unit. Not as elite as the Balkaminagon, but still fairly good. Blackhaven Sentries are polearms. More Umbar Usurpers. I do believe that they brought Aduna Quarry, which we can see right over here. And of course, we have a general unit of a Balkaminagon. And then, let's see, where is Dol Amroth's general unit? Let me hunt them down. All the way over here. Hidden, waiting. Prince Imrahil.
Sneakily hiding over here in the trees. Look at this little man.
I will add, though, that their defense does leave me a few questions on how they have this planned.
Okay.
I don't believe that they can go around here, but if they can, that's going to be a gap that they can use to get around here.
Here, okay.
Enter around the defense. Also, if Prince Imrahil is defeated here, you just have an open road.
Yeah.
Here, go around the defense and circle. Not terribly great.
Yeah, I think the Empire might be expecting some units hidden in the trees here, and that's why they're leaving so much over here. But in reality, they really should be shifting a lot of these units over to defend over here. Also, that little area in the road here, they cannot go in between that. I've tried doing that before, and they cannot.
Because I do not have experience right there.
It'd be embarrassing if I was wrong on that. Maybe you can. Maybe I'm thinking of a different spot, but I don't believe you can go through right there.
Okay.
So, yeah, I'm not 100% sure if the defense set up by Umbar here is the greatest one. I feel they're giving GES a lot of space. Like, GES, they're just giving them this entire box, and maybe that's intentional because they don't want to put their units in a kill box. Maybe that's the best decision. But it just feels like they're giving GES a lot to work with. Now, I do agree with them putting the vast majority of their armies more out and away from the main area, or excuse me, away from the main defense, because the reason I support them having their units away from the main victory point is that they need to slow them down. So really, if they just keep all their units together, it forces GS. I need to take care of my dog. Dog, you have to leave the room. We're busy. We're busy.
All right.
Take over.
While Dante is taking care of his dog, we are going to see that they are pushing up their siege towers. They're starting to get over here. One thing that I was kind of hoping to see is that these Umbar usurpers would probably be a bit more of a forward hold on this, on the stairs down from this wall here. That's pretty common, but then again, they do have Prince Emerhill, so I think what they're going to try and do is have the units file down, go attack over here, maybe go off somewhere else. And they have Prince Emerhill who can capitalize on that, really punish them for doing such a thing. First bit of arrow fire is probably going to start coming out here from both sides. We're seeing Lebanon archers trying to snipe at the Blackhaven marksman counterparts. Starting to see generally just units pushing up, units starting to get down off the walls. We're seeing Penethgelen go for the flag, capture that really quick. Of course, some of them are being diverted towards where there are armor barrels on this map. To explain a little bit on the rules of the tournament, every other fortification besides armor barrels is banned. This means that there are no banner, there are no barricades, there are no traps, nothing else. Just armor barrels that are allowed. That being said, on mere lawns, it is what I'd consider significantly more easier for ammo barrels to get, destroyed or be rendered null.
All right, I am back. So
All right.
in the battlefield, it looks like we're at the point where GS is just now touching down on the walls, right? Taking some points. The Empire is trying to put their arrows into GES's arrows. Not quite sure who's winning this engagement.
I would say in the engagement of Lebanon versus Umbar here, I think the Umbar archers are faring better, marginally.
Okay. Yeah, looks like it. Hard to tell. Looks like one of the players is struggling lag-wise.
It does look like that. So to the viewers, this is a common thing with Total War Total Battles. You may sometimes have lag. That's just the game. We live with it.
Nothing remains of that tower now.
Besides, Attila's what? 10, 11 years old?
It is getting up there. Okay, so I'm very curious really quick. I'm going to look at the stats of these Axeman units, because most of the time you don't see people bringing axes, especially at the amount that they're bringing them. Very high melee defense, very high missile block, and pretty high... Oh, well, they did put 3 chevrons into them. Okay. That's part of why.
They have put chevrons in.
have.
Also, for the viewers' information, yes, Total War Attila is indeed a 10-year-old game.
Okay, they're just now getting some of this siege equipment up on the walls.
One thing I do want to note is that the Foot Knights that were previously controlling this box over here has been moved away in favor of them being replaced by Blackhaven Guard.
Enemy forces
Seems.
have destroyed the gate.
Okay, they're now making their way through the gates. I will say, I think the attackers are doing a better job focusing down units. These Blackhaven marksmen are starting to get pretty heavily whittled down, and they need to, I think, be doing either move. If you're not winning this battle, just move them away, because you've barely killed any of the enemy archers, and you're going to use a bit of ammo. So just if you're losing that, move them away. Also, the Empire needs to do something about this little gap here, because if they don't block this gap up over here, if you see where the box entryway is,
I do indeed see.
yeah, they're gonna just funnel right through. You can see that they are indeed now moving up some Blackhaven guard to hold that box, which is good. They're getting some nice kill boxes against GES here, which is good. As some GS's tier 2, tier 3 units are coming off of the walls. Yeah, they need to do something with that shock unit, or else it's gonna beat. Maybe it won't beat the Blackhaven Spears actually. So it looks like Lebanon is kind of musing themselves as the sacrificial army. They're really putting themselves into the meat grinder. They're gonna send these axemen over here, probably against some supply barrels. Yeah,
Does look like we are going to see Penethgelen push units down towards the Umbar box here. They are going to try and hold it with these Blackhaven Spear Guard, but they really need to move them up here and spread them out.
Yeah, I'm not sure why they're just sitting there like that.
Enemy forces have destroyed.
Because as is, they can just go right through, bring down this unit, lock them in combat.
Yeah, I'm not sure if they're trying to maybe set up some sort of sneaky trap. It's very interesting. I will say, the difference between Lebanon and Penethgelen, Lebanon being very aggressive, Penethgelen being a bit more slow. They're acting, I think, almost like more of the reserve force. Penethgelen really taking their time to get into the city. Lebanon just putting everything in that they can. Oof, we can see now the general of Dal Amroth is charging into these Lebanon spears. They fell for the trap, and these Lebanon spears are going to get absolutely... these Lebanon swords, these port guards are absolutely going to get devastated by this general unit, especially if he can continuously cycle charge them. This is a very good play by them. Great job. They do need to do something about the shock. He might cycle now into the shock and kill the shock unit. Great play with the general here from Palpatine. Amazing work. These shock are going to try and run away, but they're not really going to get away. We're going to see another great charge here.
Seeing the Umbar Usurpers try and catch these Lebanon Port Guard swords.
Yep, try and
Try and
stop
slow
them.
them down.
We do want to be careful that the general doesn't get surrounded here, though. That's one thing you got to be careful about. The general
Doesn't look
gets-
like they've completely stopped them, but did stop some of the units from reaching.
Yeah, I would quickly get the general out of there. He's probably about to get surrounded. The moment the general, because he's a shock unit, a shock cab, the moment he stands still, things can become pretty bad.
Yeah. Just going to be a matter of waiting for them to pull off. We are seeing Umbar's general get into down and dirty over here on the left flank.
Yep.
In support of his spears with his bulky Magan. Good Knights of Penethgelen have a Missman.
Yep. On the other side of things, very interesting. Okay, if we look over here on the far, I guess from the defender's point of view, it's the far left. GS pulled up an Axeman unit by themselves that was completely alone. So the Empire said, all right, I'm going to send all my units up on this wall, and we're going to obliterate this Axe unit of yours. Now, he is currently winning decisively, so they sent up the wrong unit to go get him, so they've swapped it out with the shock. So they're now going, yep, so now the combat's even. So he sadly basically killed off his Axeman unit. I think the reason he was more killing off that Axeman unit was to destroy the supply barrel. Personally, if I was the Empire, I would have had units on the wall to defend that supply barrel, because the fact that they can now not resupply that from that supply barrel is devastating. So that honestly, this unit is going to get killed, but he did his job, which was getting rid of that supply barrel.
We have seen that two of the supply barrels are dead. Because there's another one right about here. On the other side, plus one here. They do still have this one all the way in the back, or this one on the very, very far right or far left here. Although I will add for our viewers, although there is an armor barrel here, this area generally does not work for resupplying it.
Very sad.
To my knowledge. Very sad indeed, but also probably a good thing for Mirland.
Again, Palpatine's general stayed in combat and has lost a lot of units. It was a great charge, but he should have gotten him out of there. If he had been cycle charging with him, it would have been far more devastating. His general might die here because of this.
Definitely might die here if he doesn't try and do something about it. Although I think it might be entirely dependent on whether or not these port guard get sorted out.
No, they
are now going to pull out.
They are going to basically get to kill off for free two, mid-tier units. But having your general be so low HP when it was just such a needless loss of units in the army, that doesn't feel great.
Not a good thing. does look like Lebanon is mostly, those Blackhaven really are losing out on the Archer battle here, now that we have seen the clear results.
Yeah.
Broken and running for their lives.
Oof. Would have been better to retreat them earlier, or have tried to have focused down the enemy archers.
No, retreat them earlier. If you're not winning there, retreat them back, get them inside where they have a better... It's much harder as the attacker to set up archers in these streets. So if you're planning on falling... I mean, it doesn't look like they're necessarily planning on falling back to the streets. I would have done a gradual defense where you slowly fall back to here and hold here. Leave the archers here. It's much harder for the defenders to move into these streets and set up their archers there. You know, the moment you realize you're losing an archer battle, say GG's, most of your units are right next to the wall, so the archers out here can't even get them anyway. So just fall your archers back to play inside of here, and you'll probably do much better.
Does look like Lebanon has been mostly cleaned up here, as we aren't really seeing much of their army remaining. We do see that they have these 4 units in the back, this unit of Cav,
Unit is running for the enemy.
this depleted unit of Shock here at the gate. They still have their archers, but one of them is pretty much broken. The other one's, starting to waver.
Yeah.
Really, now Umbar is getting most of their resources really available to them.
Yes.
So I can shift that onto Peneth Gellin.
Yeah, I will say, Lebanon, not fully sure what Lebanon was going for. I get that they were trying to put down some pressure, and they definitely did that. And in some areas, they really got some value. But it really feels like there could have been some more coordination. I personally would have sent, I don't know, units. I mean, he's just now sending units to over here. I would have done that way sooner. So it felt like Lebanon did not
Our men have given
play
up
at the
and running for
speed
their
that he
lives.
needed to be playing at, because if we look actually on the other side, well, GES was winning the archer battle on Lebanon's side. They're actually losing the archer battle largely on over here with Dal Amroth's side of things. Now it's a bit even, and Dal Amroth is almost out of ammo, but they have almost broken 2 units.
Maybe
Yeah.
even a third here in a moment.
Yep. The defenders do basically have no ammo left. That is one thing that is very dangerous for them.
They do, but I would like to call back. Once again, we still have the same barrel over here, so it's not entirely bad for them.
That is true. That's a fair point. So maybe that's part of why they're just so willing to dump their ammo, because it's like you dump the ammo and quickly retreat the archers back to go resupply. And that is one thing I'll say, that when I look at these battles, one of the things I see people not do the greatest is ammo dumping. And what I mean by that is, when you're the attackers, you often have to be very... I mean, it depends on like what you're playing. For example, if the enemy is bringing Olag high, you have to be very careful. Or if someone has Elephants, something that's really only susceptible to ammo, then you have to be conservative with your ammo. But I find that especially on the defender side, where you have those ammo barrels, they should be ammo dumping more. It's like, if you have ammo barrels, you're probably not going to be able to hold on to those ammo barrels for very long. So dump
You
what
might
ammo
as
you
well
can. Exactly, and then resupply.
I do want to note here that it does look like Lebanon is making their final moves with their last infantry. Over here on the right side.
Mm-hmm.
These units are going up here. Looks like Heirloin is going to come up here. Looks like those Peligre defenders are going to come down over here. Which is something that you do need to shift a unit to take care of. Perhaps these Foot Knights Dol Amroth would be able to handle that for them.
Yeah.
Focusing back to the middle section for a moment. Looks like, let's see. Looks like the archer battle, for the most part, has come out a little bit more even than expected.
Yep.
Of course, Peneth Gellin is still down on archer units compared to Dol Amroth here, but it does seem like they did manage to at least keep one of the units from routing.
Yeah.
Which isn't bad. Let's see. They are trying to push down the ramp a little bit, but not really going too well for them. Those Peligre Marines are kind of there and buying time. This This choke point right here is getting clogged with
Yeah, I mean,
bodies.
it is just a mosh pit. You always see in a battle, there's that one spot that is a mosh pit, and it seems to be largely going well for the defenders. Now, the attackers still have a lot of units they can recommit to this mosh pit, and once they recommit these units to the mosh pit, you know, the attackers, the defenders, all of their units are probably exhausted. Yeah, like, all of these defending units, while winning, are exhausted. So once they commit, as there just are these fresh units, honestly, if I'm the attackers, maybe not because they're so low HP, but cycling some units out, you know, keeping them fresh instead of winded might be a good idea.
I do want to say, I do see Lord Sirgon is up on this wall. Nothing is stopping him at the moment, though they are using movement. They are moving units to cover that. Let's see if I can find where that one unit is. They brought them down, or they didn't put them on the siege tower so that they would bring units away from this unit. That's an interesting strategy. It'll probably play off for them. Let's see.
Now, I'm actually gonna say something real quick.
Yep.
Lebanon won the range battle against Umbar over here, but all of their ammo they basically spent in countering the defenders' archers. I find that as the defenders, you're way more willing to trade your archers for their archers, because as the defenders you have pikes, and you really need your pikes to hold those final choke points, and the archers are the best way to deal with those pikes. So the fact that Lebanon has 0 archers left to deal with these pikes is great, because now they can do, for example, what they're doing right now, which is move their pikes over to defend the mosh pit. What I might even do, he's sending his spears over maybe to defend right here, but yeah, he can send these pikes over to defend this mosh pit, and they're going to do phenomenal holding that choke point. You can put them right there, pull back some units that are exhausted, and they'll hold for days, and the attackers can't do anything about it.
That is definitely what we're going to see here. Does look like Lord Sirgon is now in a 2-on-2 situation against Foot Knights and Duna Kori on the wall here. So we're probably going to see likely a general die here in a couple of minutes. Let's see. Really just looks like Lebanon is getting wrapped up nicely with a bow tie on top. Once again, I will add, really is a shame they didn't bring crossbows right here. Because what I probably would have done is I push a unit of crossbows here, I shoot down, right, put them on toggle of fire will, so that they will shoot at anything down here. Sure, I am going to get volley fired by pretty much 4 units of archers, but I'm willing to make that trade because of the damage potential of those crossbows. That might have helped open up this ramp, or, even better, you could have moved them over here after seeing your teammate win the archer battle. And maybe try and exploit it by holding back infantry units to cover them, and then just volley firing into the wall.
Yeah, one thing I'll say is, 100%, regardless of whether they had archers or crossbows, the attackers, GS, putting their archers right here to die was not the play. Move the archers to the mosh pit side, and fire into the mosh pit, because again, you know that there are no defending archers over here because your teammate has already taken care of them. So just move them over to this side and fire into the mosh pit. They probably would have broken through the mosh pit by now if they had done that.
I find it pretty likely that they would have. Although, yeah, one of the things you have to be concerned about is, oh hey, the defenders are probably going to move what archers that they have to try and counter that. Even then, you're still going to get a couple of volleys off before that happens, and you're probably going to heavily weaken the mosh pit.
Yep, and then the entire time you have the defending arrow towers firing down into this mosh pit, and that's something that people might forget about. Like, if we look at some of these units, they're being suppressed because these arrow towers are firing fire arrows down into these units. So while we don't ever see the kill count of these arrow towers, they're racking up kills, and it's an easy thing for people to forget about.
Arrow towers can absolutely be brutal if they're left to sit there for too long. Also, I will add that Lord Sirgon is at 28 men in his unit, pretty much about to lose this out completely. So I'm going to sit here and I'm going to enjoy this for a little bit. So I don't think we're going to have too much going on for the next couple of minutes. We might see cavalry get utilized here, but again, it was more or less just going to be waiting for something new to happen. Lord Sirgon is now routing at the moment. Is he just gonna get cleaned up here? There's 13 men left. And that will be the end for Lebanon's general. Which, as you see, just died.
A lethal blow.
Do you think it was good that GES had such an aggressive, like, attack from one of their players? Like,
I think Lebanon could have done with actually moving more slowly. Because you take a look at the situation, you see them holding this. That's a pretty good indicator that they're probably holding the walls in certain sections. At that point, it might have been better to try and maybe shift and put more pressure on the middle with your archers. Maybe
Yeah.
try and simply provide a little bit of pressure, but really try and make things better for your teammate. Since sometimes that is all you can do.
and
Provide pressure.
I just checked the man count. The attackers have less units than the defenders, which is how you know it's going terribly for them.
Absolutely. You always want to be outnumbering the defenders as the attackers. Really want to try and keep that balance of power bar in your favor.
Yeah. No, I think at this point, unless they do some crazy, I don't know, Cav shenanigans or something, this battle is pretty decided at this point. Honestly, I think the defenders could win this battle even without the timer going up. They probably will win this battle not even on a timer victory. I think they're going to win this battle with, like, I don't know, 5 minutes to spare.
Now, at this point, it's just entirely up to see how Penrith Gallon handles things, since Lebanon is essentially out of action except for a single unit of Lebanon Raiders, or Riders. Even then, they're still getting shot by the air towers.
You know, not quite. Not quite the play I wanted to see there from GES this match, but you know, we'll have to see, like, once it swaps sides, if the other team is able to do any better, because maybe it's just a really hard nut to crack.
It might just be. Mirland does kind of have a case of being either the toughest or the easiest, depending on how they play it, or how the defenders play it.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna be honest, there's a good chance this might go to a draw battle, which have we ever had one before?
We have not. If we had a draw battle, it would be the first draw battle of the tournament.
This might be the first draw battle of the tournament then. Right here in progress. I will add that I will be around for the second siege battle, but afterwards I will probably have to see if Leo can't replace me.
Yeah. And after this match, we'll probably give everybody a 10-minute intermission.
An intermission so everybody can take a break, since, as we know, Total War telebattles, although fun, they do take time. Quite a little bit of time.
Indeed.
Also, since we are this is being filmed during the work week, it is entirely possible that people may that we may have to postpone the rest of this match for a different date if things actually go for so long. It entirely depends on the schedules of the teams here.
The men have thrown down their weapons and are fleeing.
Now, hang on. We're starting to see some massive routing from the defender side over here in this box.
We are seeing Umbar starting to really route here.
Now,
I think that is probably just because these units are so low man count at this point. They could do with fresh replacements, which does look like they are sending over.
They are, and again, honestly, they have men to spare. They've spread people out. Like, if we look at Dollar Amaroth, they have a fresh shock unit just sitting off on the side, just chilling. They could easily send a unit or two over to help. They're pushing up. They're so confident, which I'm not sure that that's necessarily needed.
Men are broken and running for their lives.
It's probably not needed, but even if they weren't going to win this on just outright crushing the army, still, it would buy time. I'd say it's a decent tactic at this point. I'd say they still have this in the bag. Although there is this one unit of Knights of Penrith Gallon kind of chilling over here, which as I speak of them, they have now decided to climb this tower and get up here.
I don't think they'll manage to do anything. Maybe
I don't think so either. There's just too many units still waiting down here for them.
Yeah, they'll probably just run 2 shock up onto the wall and kill them.
Our men are wavering.
Umbar is wavering pretty badly at the moment with some of these units.
Their general isn't dead, is he? I don't think so.
No, no. Still perfectly alive. Does look like
Okay, they're
they might have
starting to
planned.
try and cycle charge into the gap.
Does seem like it. Will it pay off for them? We did see that the front line of Peneth Galleon and Lebanon here kind of just collapsed there for a second. If I were Umbar here, it doesn't really look as if these Duna Kori are getting past you or Balka Magan. So
They've
my better
broken
just
the pikes.
the pikes are breaking, but now you have fresh pikes. The Tirith Air Sentinels coming up to replace them.
Yeah.
So even in this situation, they are still going to have to deal with even more pikes. Just not terribly viable for the attackers here, but there's nothing they can do. The only thing they might really be able to do is maybe try and send a unit around to clamber up the walls on Lebanon's attacking side, but even then that would take far too long, and it wouldn't take that long for the defenders to shift over a unit.
Mm-hmm.
Going to take a moment to admire the kills in some of these units. Since we have the time, we can take the time to chill out for a little bit. You know what, Dante?
Yeah.
I don't think our audience really knows us that well. So perhaps let's give some introductions on ourselves while we're sitting here waiting for this match to end out.
All right, sure, go ahead.
All right. Well, I am Z Spy. I have played Total War Attila for a number of years now, on and off. Dauntless Days, I played a couple of years ago. I got back into it a couple of months ago. Got into the server. We got this tournament going. However, outside of Total War Attila, one of the things I like to do is I enjoy TTRPGs, such as Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition, specifically 5th edition, since you know, for those fellow nerds out there who are curious. I also play a homebrewed version of D&D 5e, which is called SW5e, which is a Star Wars version. In addition to Vampire the Masquerade, which is a World of Darkness based system, and Wrath and Glory. Over to Dante.
All right. Yeah, my name's Dante. I am, oh god, the camera. I am one of the people who started off this server here after getting into the Dauntless Days mod. I actually joined the Dauntless Days mod server originally to see if I could do some voice acting for it. So after having some success with hopefully in the future being able to voice act some characters in the game, I got really involved with the community, hanging out with people just casually playing. Then a member of this server decided that he wanted to start a server where people could play a bit more competitively against each other. So I helped with that until the point that I've somewhat taken that over, the reins of that, and now it's, at this point, has been morphed into not a singular individual leading it, but a community effort of everyone who is just willing to devote their time. But that's the server itself. For me,
Our men have given up and are running for their lives.
I'm a big fan of Total War. I actually started out by playing Warhammer, a lot of Warhammer, and I'm a big theater kid. I love theater. I love D&D as well. Big D&D fan. Just a massive nerd all around, which is something that you'll find with most of the people who hang out and play here. is a lot of us are nerds. Big historian buff, all of those things, and I love the communal effort of bringing people together to play fun, cool scenarios, especially inside of the world of the Lord of the Rings, which is one of my core childhood memories, is watching Lord of the Rings and reading the books. So being able to come here and have all these, host these fun events for everybody to play together is an awesome experience for me. Now, I believe if we get back to the battle, we can see that actually Pynethgelen has dismounted their general and is just desperately trying to run him into some pikes right now, just to make something happen.
Trying. Good effort, but I don't think it'll pay off.
No, and even if he does do something with it, it's not gonna... Too little, too late.
Absolutely too little, too late. You know what? While we're sitting here talking, I'm gonna get back onto the topic of TTRPGs. As I mentioned before, hey, big TTRPG fan. One of the TTRPGs I play, also, it is based off of Cyberpunk. Some of you may know that. I play Cyberpunk 2020 with a group of friends. Yes, we're all evil. Yes, we don't like corpos. That's just how the cookie crumbles. We have somebody playing a corpo. That's going to be really interesting. One of the things we did last time was somebody was essentially our in-house medicine maker of quotation marks medicine, if you catch my meaning.
Yes.
You know,
Illegal medicines.
the illegal medicines that the government does not want you to know about. Or rather, don't take. Funnily enough, we actually developed a cure for cancer in that game.
That is the most D&D thing I've ever heard.
We made a cure for cancer only to use it for ourselves.
That is also... That's just the most real-world thing I've ever heard.
Yeah. I will say it got to a point where our DM was questioning our morality so bad he decided to test us with a little kid.
That's funny.
No, we didn't kill the little kid. We're not monsters.
I don't believe you. He's lying. Don't trust him.
Actually, I should take that back. Only one of us is a monster because they considered using something we called super fent. You don't want to know.
Good old drugs. Good old drugs.
Yeah. They were considering using super fent. We don't talk about super fent. Yeah, it's pretty much like Fight Club, except in this case you don't talk about super fent. That being said, yeah, no, there's a new game of that going on now, and I still need to make my character fully, but hey, I'm gonna be the doc this time. I am the medicine man. Now to pretty much be a ripper doc and sit in the apartment and then just go, oh hey, you want a surgery? Yeah, I'll do it for you. Don't tell the licensing board about this.
The licensing board will come for you.
Yes, they will, because in Cyberpunk they probably have guns.
Everything has guns.
Exactly. You want to talk to your next door neighbor? The gun or the door has a gun.
He's just a walking gun.
The gun has a gun.
Well, I mean, he kind of is a walking gun because he probably has modifications. It's probably really not that far from the truth.
Yeah, they probably do. I played a fixer in the last game. Before you ask, no, it wasn't combat oriented. I pretty much let everyone else go out and fight for their life while I was up in the pretty much the basement room, just watching them through CCTV, just like, yeah. Woo! Woo!
All right, real quickly, pulling away from the wonderful world of Cyberpunk back into the world of Dauntless Days. we could see the defenders making repeated cycle charges into the attackers, and the vast majority of the attackers' armies are now routing, running off the battlefield. They just have a couple units left that they're sending up to desperately try and I don't know, die with honor, I guess. Yes, the battle is now turning in your guys' favor. So we're gonna get some last charges here from the defenders and the attackers as they clean up the attacking army before we move into the next battle of the match.
All right. Yep. Now we're starting to see pretty much a mass rout, and
There
that
we
will
go.
end. Okay, well, while Dante is gone, I'm going to go ahead and run through the unit comps on Umbar. I know you won't be able to see it because Dante is our main source of video here, and I am not a recording person. We do see Aganalio, which is a command unit. Command units in Dauntless Days usually provide a morale buff or some sort of buff to other units, and they generally don't have high unit sizes, but they're pretty good at their jobs. This one appears to have an 80-man unit. We see Umbar Usurpers and a new unit, which you are not accustomed to, the Arfazan Zazgar, which is their high-tier, very elite sword infantry. I will note that although they have high or good stats most of the time, they are focused down just because everyone knows that they are a threat, and they're pretty easily recognizable by the fact that they wear golden armor. We see Balak Axeman, a cheaper shock unit from Umbar, alongside Bakumanagan, a staple unit, of course. Of course, we have the Aduna Kori, Arbetazagar. Let's see. More Blackhaven Marksmen, Balak Axemen. Does look like they are going to try and push widely on the right flank as aggressively as they did, as the other team did. With Lebanon. We are going to see them split up and try and actually go for a three-pronged attack with a little sneak attack hidden. We have Princess Marksman from Dol Amroth, as expected. We also have Prince Emrahil. We have Champions of Doranel, Foot Knights of Dol Amroth, Peligar Marines, Tirthair Sentinels. I'm not sure how I feel about them bringing polearms or pikes on attack, since it's a mixed bag in my opinion. They definitely have plenty of sword infantry, plenty of sword and shock. Not really seeing cavalry, which is a stark contrast to the attacking team last time. On the very far right, hidden in a grove of trees, we have Knights of the Silver Swan from Palpatine, Peligar Marines, units of Champions of Doranel. Swapping over to the defenders here, we have 4 units of Penethgelen crossbows. This is what I wanted to see all this time, gentlemen. Well, ladies and gentlemen. Penethgelen crossbows are, they're pretty good. As I mentioned earlier, they're pretty good at the job.
Alright, I have returned.
Yeah,
We haven't
I'm
started
just
yet.
running through the armor comps. I'm already
Okay.
on the defenders.
Awesome.
Knights of Penethgelen, we have sword units. Looks like we also have, looks like we have a lot of swords here. We do see Green Hill Spearmen, which are the very, very hyper elite spears I've talked about from Penethgelen, alongside Penethgelen halberds. Of course, we have Hirlewin, the standard general we come to expect. Flopping over to Lebanon, which is 1133. We have Lebanon Riders, 2 units of them. We also have Pelican Marias, Lord Saragon, which we've come to expect. We do have a little bit of Penethgelen Heavy Macemen, which is something I missed earlier. Peligar Defenders, Spear and Swords, versions respectively. Let's see. I don't believe that Lebanon has brought any pikes or polearms, and I don't know whether that's because they weren't available to them or not. That's my timer. Dante, what's yours at? If you had it right now.
Mine's off now. So,
Okay.
yeah, if Leo, if you want to go tell him, Leo.
Yep.
Honestly, I'm gonna make a call right here, right now. I think the attackers are going to win. Not only are they going to win, it's gonna be a bit of a steamroll.
Ooh.
It's my spicy hot take.
You know what? I can get down with that.
Yeah? Why can you get down with that? Like, what?
I can
what
get down with that because I believe Umbar in general is just better than Lebanon. So while Umbar last time was able to hold this position much better against Lebanon, now since they're going up against Umbar, they aren't going to be able to hold it because they're the losing out faction on this side. They're kind of countered by Umbar here. Although
Well-
we do see that Peneth Gellin is going to try and support them a little bit with what they have here.
A lot of shock from the defenders. That's what I'm saying. Seeing a lot. I mean, they're trying to hold every single gap, so they're using way more shock over here to clearly try and cycle charge with. But that's where you bring your archers and just shoot the shock. I mean, granted, they do have their archers. But
Yeah.
if we see what happened last time, the attacking archers generally win. So the Blackhaven archers should beat these level 2 Lebanon archers. Also, we can see that the attacking side, the Empire, are actually doing a 3-pronged attack, which I think is good. They're forcing the defenders to spread out across 3 fronts. Knowing the way the Empire plays, what they're going to do is, and you can see they have some units hidden in forests here and there. What they're going to do is they're going to move their rams up to each 3 gate. They're going to break those gates down. I do think they're actually going to play a lot slower. They're going to play quite slow. They're going to move their rams up to each 3 gates. They're going to break the gates down, and they're going to kind of like play it slowly. And whichever side is the least defended is the side that they're going to actually focus on. So they won't really commit to something until they feel like the defenders aren't focusing on that. So, for example, I don't think they're going to commit that much to Umbar's side. I think they'll commit to it, but I don't think they're going to commit in the way that...
Lebanon did.
Yeah, because they're just not... They're like, no, there's just too much up here. We're just not going to do that right now.
I can see your point here because that is generally how they played. Even then, when it comes to the 1v1 matchups, Umbar is generally better.
Mm-hmm.
Although this time they do have the advantage of actually being able to set up in their defensive, or the formations. So they might have a little bit more bonuses towards their defense with those.
Yeah. Let's see. Tier 4 unit, Tier 4 unit, Tier 4 unit, Tier 4 unit. I mean, it's basically all Tier 4 units holding off against Umbar. These are very strong units.
Strong units. Yes. But I still don't believe that they'll stack up to Umbar. Because Umbar has their own elite units. Don't get me wrong, they did do fairly well against them, but still, it just wasn't enough.
Yeah, and one good thing from the attackers here, and a good thing, I think, from the defenders, if we look on the far left side, so the defenders far left, then we can see that they're protecting their ammo barrels. They're committing to the defense of the ammo barrels. And they're sallying out. Okay.
Lebanon
And
Riders.
we do have a tier 4 archer or knight unit that is probably gonna go in.
Try and play counter around it and stop them from being too bad.
You have to be careful with these crossbows. Now you have to be careful because there are rules about playing directly around the gates that they're not allowed to do. So we have to be careful here. Leo, if you want to give a reminder to GES just quickly about the fact that like the gates are glitchy and to not directly play in the gate openings, that they're not allowed to do that. Just give them a reminder that to like watch out so they don't glitch anybody's units. That would be good. I don't think they're necessarily
careful
going
about
to,
it.
but we'll see. They're probably about to pull inside anyways. Ooh, some units might get caught out here. Okay, yep. I think they were just baiting. I think what they were doing was maybe just trying to bait with the calves so the crossbows could shoot. These knights didn't get any hits. I'm sure they did a bit of damage, though. And now... Okay, really? Ultimately, that cav charge, what it did was it delayed. That sally out, it delayed just by a couple of seconds. Didn't manage to really get any units killed. But they're slowing down the attackers just that bit much more.
I am going to point this out so that there's a little bit of continuity with what I said at the start. I mentioned these towers right here. Units can be put up on them. It is very much possible for an archer or a crossbow unit to get set up on here. It is entirely up to the defenders how they want to play with this. You can see that they're kind of scattered about. There's usually at least 1 or 2 in each of the main areas here.
Okay, interesting.
That's just something I wanted to point out.
Yep, interesting from the attackers. Their archers are kind of getting obliterated right now. Now they are successfully pulling the... I don't know if that really means anything. God, these archers are getting crushed.
Yeah.
Yeah, please do something. Stop letting this happen. This is a great unit.
It is a great unit. You can win this. You just need to focus them down, please.
Yeah. I will say GES throughout this entire battle has done a far better job in the archer battle. GS throughout every single battle has done a far better job. And then again, the defenders can afford to like if they draw even on the archer battle, like let's say the attackers win but they use all their ammo defeating the defenders' archers, that's still a win for the defenders because again the defenders have their pikes where the attackers don't have pikes. So
I will note that I believe it was Dol Amroth. They did bring Tiartha Air Sentinels, which is their own pikes.
Okay.
So I think they might be looking for some counterplay there.
We still have lots
or
of
maybe
units hiding in the trees.
They might be looking also to use those pikes to really push forward, though. We'll have to see.
Okay, some of the gates are being broken down now. We have some spears holding the gates. See, this is where a faction like Isengard is great, because if you have a spear unit just standing there in front of the broken gate, you can walk a crossbow up, shoot it, stand it right in front of the gate, and just shoot in there. Especially if there's no archers around to defend it, like there isn't on the right side. Just walk up some crossbows or knife throwers, one of the two. Walk one of the two up.
And just put them to use right here, right now.
Yep. Kill
this
that
is
tier 4
also
unit
why
real
I
quick.
This is also why, again, I love my crossbows.
Mm-hmm.
Gotta love them.
Gotta love them, gotta love them. Now, one thing I will say is Palpatine committing some shock into some spears and pikes. Don't know that there's really a point to this. You're just you're doing a great job killing your heavy pikes. That is an amazing plan to kill your heavy pikes. To kill your heavy shock. Now, the shock on the other end that are going after these ammo barrels are doing a much better job. They're quickly resupplying some crossbows off of these ammo barrels. Sure, you know, every little bit you can get. Defenders desperately trying to keep these ammo barrels alive. It's probably a good call. Attackers just now getting into the city. I think if the defenders are going to win this, they're probably going to win it on time. There was a desync in the game.
There was indeed a desync. Have you also exited?
Everything... Oh, is it just fully controlled by AI at this point? Or
Maybe, let's find out.
Yeah,
I'll go down to the teams and start asking.
yeah, because I'm still talking... Like, I'm still in the game. Things are still
How
happening.
bad, Lou? One moment. Leo's in here if you want to stream it, but I'll be back.
Okay.
I'm gonna pop down to the teams and ask.
Some devastating crossbow fire coming in here from the defenders. I'd like to see it. This attack over here on the left side, going pretty rough.
Neither side is desynced.
Okay,
So
awesome.
we're good to still go?
Okay, so it was you who got desynced?
Yep, I got desynced. That's fine.
Alright, well, go take a break, I guess.
I might as well just go ahead and leave and let Leo replace me.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. if you
All
wanna
right,
do-
Leo, get up here.
Not sure if they killed entire shock units going into this, but as you can see, they did not make a dent. The defenders are doing some cav charges here, trying to counter the attackers' units. It looks like they got 28 kills. Okay, they got 58 kills. Okay, so they got some decent charges. Now the Umbar general is going in, and they're gonna try and chase down the enemy general. If they can catch him, this will be huge. Let's quickly check his speed. 75 to 75. Yeah, they're not gonna catch him. They're pulling off now. He has some other cav units. So it was a nice charge from the defenders. The attackers trying to put in their axemen. Not sure where his Aduna Kori is. Not seeing any Aduna Kori here. Where are all the Aduna Kori at?
There are a few units right in the back.
Oh, the Aduna
With the
Kori
commands.
right back here. Okay. Coming in?
It's probably part of the strategy to try and save the Dune Core until last.
I see. Okay, good to know. Yeah. So like, obviously you don't have your own fly around, but just kind of like looking at the battle here. What are your thoughts on how things are going with the teams?
I mean, just judging by how many like, icons there are, you can obviously blue, which is what faction is that? Who is that playing?
Wait, blue? You want to know who blue is?
Yeah.
That's
Palpatine.
Palpatine, and he's playing as Del Amroth.
Yeah, simply by just looking at it, it doesn't look like he's committing much. Like it's very hit and miss, like not doing much.
Mm-hmm.
I did just see there's a bunch of units in the forest there, but
yeah.
So that's gonna be some nice high tier shock again.
Yeah, it feels.
Both teams do.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry. Yeah, both teams are very much leaning towards shock, especially on attack, which is unusual.
I mean, it makes sense for Umbar to lean towards shock.
Yeah, I mean, I have played Doamroth, and one of the best parts is bringing their shock. It is an amazing part of their roster.
Yeah, Umbar is starting to get some units in and around the flanks here.
It really needs some units around back there.
Not sure if they'll be able to get anything to work. I mean, these two guys could, if they work together, come around and do something. These spears can protect these swords. A lot of the Umbar units are kind of being put into the meat grinder. We can see that the Aduna Kori are going in against these spear units. Hidden units being revealed. Yeah, the ones that are in there, they already know about them. Somebody capturing this? Oh, it's just a singular horse running across the victory point. I was like, who is capturing this? Yeah, I feel like the attackers are playing too slow.
I mean, they do still have. They've only went like 15 minutes into the battle. They're less than halfway, and you can see the attackers are starting to not pull back, but you can see some units are going back to try and defend that breach on the Umbar's side.
Yeah. Yeah, no, they're massively moving units over to Umbar's side, which might be what they want. Now it's the chance, you know, for Umbar, for Del Amroth to move up their shock units. I really think these shock units need to get in here and do something. There's one crossbow unit, that's it. Like, now is the time to get those guys in there, and I just feel like there could be some better utilization of units to start applying pressure. Umbar is about to get shot to hell by some crossbows in a second here. You can watch these crossbows just rack up some kills real quick.
Do you think what Doamroth was trying to do is try and capture the gate that side, and then push shock through? Because if you put shock into the gateway, it's very hard to get good arch angles. But they held the defenders held the gate too much, so they've sort of just tried forcing them to keep units on that side until they have to retreat.
Not 100% sure. These shock looks like yeah, these shock are going all the way over here. Am I stupid for thinking? I mean, there's a spear unit here, but can't you just cycle charge into the spear unit?
Yeah.
Especially since all the crossbows and everything are leaving, like, you can just cycle charge into them.
Especially the gate is broken as well, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It's some very odd dedication, at least in my mind. Some very odd dedication of resources here. Also, oh, this shock is actually losing Oh, these are very heavy melee infantry. Okay. This cab
They
is
do
just
have
kind of trying to
cabs.
find its opening. I think these 3 units here are probably going to get overwhelmed pretty soon. We got this commander here, which is taking some arrow fire. It's not the greatest. The Shock tried to make something happen, but they lost pretty decisively against the defenders. Again, we're seeing this as just the choke point of doom right here. It has claimed many units. And once again, I've commented on it before and I'll comment on it again. The defenders GS has by far done a better job strictly in the archer battles. And I think that's mainly because it's more on the micro side of thing, and like the Empire said, GS is doing a better job on the micro. Some of Empire's grand strategy I do think is a bit better, but GS definitely has the better micro here on a lot of these events that we're looking at.
I think part of that will come down to Palpatine playing on a tracker pad again.
Yeah,
I think that's very much limiting his capability to
absolutely.
micro as well.
And that is completely fair. Okay, are these bows going to shoot into these crossbows? The crossbows are running away now. They're Curly trying to charge into these guys. You know, looking at this defense of the city, I'm convinced that I think holding the walls is a better way to defend a city than playing in the center area here.
Yeah, especially that far side with Umbar and who's defending that side? No, Lebanon.
Yeah, Lebanon is defending this. Or, well, Pelargis.
That's it.
Pelargis is defending this side. Are these Pelargis units of Lebanon? Because it's the same... Oh yeah, it's Lebanon Archers.
Yeah.
That's just the name of the
Oh.
other one. Okay.
Yeah, you can see holding the walls. Also, it is difficult because if one side breaks or one singular choke point breaks, you don't have many units to back up. But I think it is definitely the way to win,
Mm-hmm.
especially, yeah, because you get to hold larger choke points and you don't have to win an archer battle that way. Because when you do come back to that final stand, that is difficult to hold without archers.
Mm-hmm. Now, we're at a point where Lebanon doesn't have any more archer fire. Now, there are still some crossbows running around the map. But other than that, why are you even bothering charging spears into those? That doesn't even seem like that's worth it. Other than that, I think for the attackers, they really need to be using their Aduna Kori really intelligently. And they need to be using these 4 archer units really intelligently for the attackers. They really need to be doing that so that they can make something happen. Like, putting these Pellegrin Marines in, I don't even know what the point of this is. You're just giving them a unit to kill.
I think part of it does come down to faction selection. Both attackers did bring factions which the Shock is preferred. I understand why they brought them, because Umbar has good infantry, but lacks like good cav, whereas Doramov brings all the cav needed. But both armies do want to bring at least 3 to 6 Shock each. It's not like a faction which has good melee. Umbar does still have good melee, but
They're getting some nice shots into these axes. I think these axes have pretty high miss. Yeah, they have 33 missile block chance. These crossbows we're starting to see some of the crossbows run out of ammunition. The Aduna Kori are running in, getting shot to pieces by some crossbows here. They are going to get probably a pretty nice charge, I imagine, on this spear unit, though. But the crossbow fire might be a bit too much for them.
if the Aduna Kori, if the Aduna Kori can hold out, then you do see reinforcements coming, where they could try and get around the sides.
Yeah,
what they did earlier, but and then don't have any reinforcements to plug the gap now.
I think he's going to form up into a very narrow... Alright, let's watch to see if this is... So far, I think this is good.
So this is what he sort of accidentally did last time.
Yeah, but he's not. Yep, that was
Yeah,
completely legit.
that's-
That was completely legit.
Yeah, that's all good.
Very nice play there from Palpatine surrounding this unit. Again, a very high tier spear unit. This was basically full health a couple seconds ago, and they did lose an Aduna Kori doing this, which really sucks. But they are breaking down one of their best spear units. So,
Yeah.
now that being said, these crossbows are racking up the kills. Absolutely racking up the kills on the Aduna Kori. And only getting 88 kills on an Aduna Kori, I mean, you could argue they did their job, but I kind of want a tier 4 unit to get 100 to 150 kills every single match.
I think, yeah, they did do their job though, because now there's only one unit defending that choke point, along with other weaker units like archers, for example, still. But once they break through that, what they need to do is just cycle charge. They're not doing enough cycle charging with their shock there.
Yeah. And again, these crossbows are, I mean, they're at 150 kills. They're devastating these shock units. So I really would have pulled the shock out by now.
But then, if you look at the rest of the army, they only have what, one spear unit? The rest is shock,
Yeah.
at least nearby.
I
So
will
it was a
say
good play on their part.
the defenders are pretty decidedly winning this one. It looks like we are indeed going to be going to a draw battle. Which, oh my goodness. All right. Go into a draw battle, you know. But it's kind of fitting for the final match. It just kind of shows how much more experienced these teams are, that they're not able to break each other. That it is indeed going to a draw battle.
And also partially how broken Mirlond is.
I
on
mean, in the
defense.
past, we've always seen. I mean, I'll say in the past, every single time we see Mirlan, I'm pretty sure the attackers have always won.
Yeah. I think that is very much because it was a new map, so everyone thought center was what, technically 3 choke points. So it's like, oh, we can defend there. But as the tournament has gone on for further time, the strategy around it has developed, as we can see here.
Oh, you know what? A thing to add to the forum document. Just a real quick note. A thing on what maps people want to see.
Yes, that's a good idea.
Yeah, because I mean, the attackers, I don't see them winning this. So I think at this point, we'll be moving to a draw battle between the two teams to resolve who wins the tournament. Which, I mean, a pretty epic way to resolve this. A decisive draw battle on a different map. We will also be seeing this on a different map that isn't just, you know, Mount Doom or Gondorian countryside for the bajillionth time.
True, yeah. Let's have a look. What are the possible maps? So it's all they're much more. The maps are very much more hilly, more blind spots available. I think there's a lot of tree coverage in some of these maps that could come up.
Yeah, it'll make for a much more interesting maneuvering of units.
Yeah, especially that most factions do have good cav core. Like they can have enough cav that can easily get in between forests and. Yeah, I think
this
that perspective really does.
sum up where we're at right now.
Yeah.
We are definitely going to a draw battle. The defenders utilize their crossbows really well.
Yeah, I think one of the main things it came down to was not being able to focus down the crossbows. Because if you focused them down, or if, it was more about them keeping them back out of archer range. But then, if the crossbows didn't get shot, then the Dunakori would have lived, which would have been deciding the factor of the game almost. I think.
Right. You know, they've moved some units back to the final keep here. They're kind of just waiting. They're basically just suiciding their general into some spears. Or no, maybe they're just sitting him on top of the hill. Moving up a bunch of units to try and defend over there. Moving up some archers, probably going to try and fire into these crossbows here so that they can move up their, I don't know, singular shock unit, I guess. The archer's going to fire? No? We're just going to sit here? Have a nice picnic? Okay, there we go. I assume it's into the crossbows. It is indeed into the crossbows. What is the armor of the crossbows? Armor 50. Missile block chance 33. Very nice. Those are some sturdy crossbows. Crossbows moving up. They're counter firing back. They're like, alright, if you're going to shoot my crossbows, I'm just going to kill as many of your guys as I can. Moving the Dunakori back. Definitely the smart decision. But again, these crossbows have 225 kills. We got 130 on, I think every single range unit of the defenders has 100 plus kills.
Those crossbows were really the deciding factor, weren't they?
Yep, and Z was talking about it earlier. Bring the crossbows, bring the crossbows. Yep, almost every single crossbow has like 400, or not 400, 200 kills each. That is insane.
Yeah. I think they are definitely best on defense in a siege. Attacking is difficult to use. In a field battle, it's difficult
Yeah.
because of the range.
Oh, they're charging the general down. They're like, these crossbows are doing too much damage. I just gotta get them out of here. But again, the crossbows even do good when they're being shot. He's pulling in some spears to quickly help try and kill the general. Probably needs to instantly pull his general back. I mean, he is breaking that crossbow. You did your job. Yep, bring down the Aduna Kori. That's smart. But pull your general back, please. Pull your general back. I mean, that's... Oh, no, he's breaking the spears. Never mind. Good job. Good going. I'd still pull him back and obviously charge these Aduna Kori in. Very nice. Over here, we just have a suicide charge from a unit over here. The Aduna Kori. Charging
As
in.
unlikely as it is, the attackers still do have ammo. So if they can focus down the pole arms there, they might be able to get to a point in which, because they still got cav, they can maneuver themselves in a way where they can try and capture the victory point. There's still a possibility of that, and maybe try and win it off, like, not time, but whether it's like the point system.
I mean, I would be putting a single volley of fire arrows into this. I'd putting all of my ammo into the archers, and I'd be putting one volley of fire arrows into this crossbow unit. Is what I'd be doing, because these crossbows, even though there's only 30 of them, they're still going to do a decent hit of damage. I would also get the general out of there. My goodness, get the
general was
out.
breaking.
How is
with only 7 losses?
That is
because it's their last unit.
That is devastating. Like, he could have done so much more this battle with only 16 kills. Yeah, and again, I mean, I guess they've kind of maybe resigned themselves to defeat at this point. They also don't have any other units to hold the front. Now that I'm looking at it, actually, they literally don't have any other units to hold here. I mean, actually, I take it back. There's a pike they could have brought over here. But, yep,
They're not even moving them up on that side.
No. I think at this point, they've pretty much... Yep, they're pretty much just saying, okay, one last glorious hurrah, and then we'll go into the draw battle. To decide who will win the first Conquest tournament. Charging the general. The general's gonna win there. And we'll just sit over here and watch as the defenders send the attackers peacefully into the sunset.
There's the mass route.
One last glorious charge from Al Balbazar. Or Belgazar, excuse me.
There we go.
And that is the battle. We are officially moving to a draw battle, which we have never seen in the history of the tournament. So we'll get to find out whether it sucks or not, which is great.
Yeah, let's see how balanced it is. Good time to test it is on the two best teams trying to fight for the tournament.
Yeah. When it gets uploaded to YouTube for everyone to see how scuffed it is. Oh god, it's gonna be wonderful. It's gonna be wonderful. All right. Well, need to drag everybody in here real quick. Gonna move everybody up to speak. All right, guys. It's been a long haul. Let me tell you. But I just rolled the dice, and for your guys' draw map, the last map you're playing, the entire tournament to decide the winner of the tournament, is what did I roll? I rolled 1, which is Dead Marshes. So your draw map is going to be played with 20,000 funds on Dead Marshes.
So 20k, not 22.
Yes, 20k, land battle, Dead Marshes. So just quickly go ahead and swap it over.
Yep. So does the middle rule apply here? Because this is quite a choke point map, so you could actually go camp out a bit.
Yes. So, to clarify, whichever team holds the middle of the map, the rough middle of the map, for a minute, then they win. So it's just to force everybody to get on with it and fight each other for the center part of the map. So with that, Anonymous, is it set to 20,000 Dead Marshes?
It is.
Awesome. Okay.
With
Get your
20k or 22,500.
Yeah,
20K.
oopsie, I still forgot. Yeah, 20k.
20k, Dead Marshes,
Did it
40-minute
change?
timer.
Yeah, well, Axel, did it change for you?
It did.
Did he say it didn't for him?
It did. It did.
Didn't.
Oh, okay. Awesome.
Yeah, okay.
So, with that, head to your guys' respective VCs. Get your armies ready up to go, and we'll get the last match of the tournament underway. All right. Any final questions or no? I'll take that as a no.
No, I just want to say the last match, it was all set up. You know, the funds were all wrong. They got more than they deserved. They cheated.
Okay. We'll make sure to tell whoever's in charge of this thing that was. We'll make sure to report it to administration.
Sorry, Dante, what's the
Yes.
password? I've just loaded it up.
5678.
I might as well get a better view of the final match.
All right, Emperor, I'm gonna drag you on over.
Okay.
All right, you're in the match. Beautiful. Boop. It's kind of fitting that this is our draw battle. It's so funny that this is where the draw battle happens.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. So yeah, I'm just looking at Doamov's army comp, but you can see they are maining. They were. They have now removed a few of them, but they were maining a lot of shock infantry. Again.
Yeah, that is true. That is true. I mean, going into this field battle, I don't want to just give it to GES, but GES does have the better micro. That being said, I feel like Dead Marshes is a more forgiving map in terms of micro because there's more choke points.
I think it very much depends how each team positions themselves. Because it's not very much just a clash of forces in the middle of the map. It's very much, can you hold like a corner almost? Or like between two of the little lakes.
Mm-hmm.
There's different ways of playing this.
Yeah. So it is going to be a battle of the dead marshes to decide the tournament. Gives you the chills. It's, if you think about it, it's just funny that
Oh, hang on.
that
War Axel's in.
Hmm?
War Axel's
Oh,
just been in
thank
the
you.
audience.
What was that with holding the middle for 1 minute?
So the thing is, it's just to prevent people from playing like where they spawn or some hill in the back. It's just saying, hey, if one team is very clearly in the middle and the other team isn't for 1 minute, then the team that is in the middle of the map wins. It's just to prevent people from corner camping.
Got it.
Like as long as you're
Thanks.
clearly making attempts at fighting each other for the middle of the
It's
map,
fine.
then you're fine. Yeah.
Got it.
Did he disconnect?
He went down to his team.
Awesome. Awesome. And then technically sometime this week, we need to do, there's 2 matches in the losers bracket that need to be finished. I don't know.
I mean,
we're probably not going to be able
we'll
to
see
finish
if they'll
both of them.
finish.
We'll see. I mean, regardless at this point, we're moving forwards.
Yeah. I think one major thing we need to adjust in the rules is partially because we haven't actually had a battle about it yet, but the sort of like corner camping and the forced attack. I think we need to figure out all the different penalties and rules about a draw battle because we haven't had the time to experience it before now.
Yeah. I think, I mean, in terms, if you just say like, hey, you have to go for the center of the map, and if one team is very clearly in the center of the map and the other team isn't, like, I think that's enough.
Yeah.
For the land
I think
battles.
it's basically, it depends on, it's like as long as the moderators see it as you're not just trying to hold a defensive position each, you're both trying to make an active attack against each other. That's
Yeah.
the key idea.
That and there's also other things in terms of, what was I about to say? It's slipping from my mind. Rules that will make the moderation side of things easier and then make the games run faster. So I was thinking about it and I was like, you know what? Going forwards, I think what we should do, and it's just what popped into my head. What we should do is, I need to make sure I have the timer ready. What we should do is the only matches that are streamed and moderated by us are the semifinals and the finals. And what we do going up to the semifinals and the finals is we say, hey, we're gonna create a text chat for your guys' teams to like talk to each other. So you have a place in the server you can figure out when you guys are gonna fight. It's up to you guys to, in a week, find a time to play against each other. Otherwise, either one or both of you gets penalized. So it's like up to you guys, and then once we get into the finals, then at that point, quickly go remind the Empire that they're facing to the side of where they need to start, that it's glitched where it's facing them. Do you know what I'm talking about? Or actually, I can do it.
Okay, yeah. I'll give them 30 seconds or something.
Well,
See if they get it, but
No, just I just do
Yeah.
it now. Thank you, thank you.
I am just gonna go for like 1 minute or something, just very quickly.
All right. So, looking at the army comps we have set up, let's see. GS, they have this big old blob of units as they're setting up their army. They have 1, 2, 3, 4, bunch of cav units. Just basically nothing but cav. Let's make sure they don't. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, they're not breaking the cav limit. That's good. This is basically a cav, shock, and archer army. They do have some swords in here. It's kind of hard to tell. They have some spears. They have some swords, but basically just cav and shock is really clearly what they're focusing on here. The other units are just kind of supports to just fill the gaps. Bringing lots of these cav units.
Hey guys,
Okay.
Hey Matt.
how are you?
Doing good. We are currently recording, just so you know, because we're going to be putting this on the YouTube channel. So
Cool, cool.
yeah, once the
Is
match,
this the finals now?
this is the finals now.
Okay,
This is
cool.
the deciding match. This is the draw battle finally.
This is the big one.
This is indeed
Yes.
the big one. So they played through a land battle. A team won. They played through both siege battles that the defender both won. This is the first time we're officially having a draw battle.
Ooh, it's a good time to have it for the final.
And I'll be right back.
Is what we've been saying.
Palpatine.
You've. Yeah,
Oh,
Palpatine,
okay. He's facing. the
don't
wall right
forget
now.
to put him out of fire tool.
What happened?
No, you're good.
Thank you, sir.
Okay.
Okay. Dante is now watching us.
Oh, that. Okay, I see. That's up. Gotcha.
Okay, so you
yeah.
can be a speaker or audience. Oh.
Yeah. Matt
Yeah.
once
One thing
said,
I would say with
hang on one second.
GES,
One thing
is that
before you get into that.
their strategy of
I
basically
need it.
almost pure shock and cavalry, it is going to work still, but it's probably the worst map because
For it to happen, yeah.
it is very easy to sort of not box yourself in, but with lakes and stuff, you can easily form two sides in different ways.
Or
And
find, and
basically,
then
like,
they can get a gap opening.
yeah, it's like you can see where I'm drawing. Like you can easily hold like that and that
Mm-hmm.
if you came to it. I believe.
It takes a
Sure,
while. It
one
would take a
second.
while to get around the other side to send units.
Yeah, but you can see what GES is probably doing. It's full on sending around the far side.
That
Looks
would
like
be
it's
a
quite
smart idea.
it looks like quite the opposite for the Empire.
Or perhaps they're gonna send one force
So you
just.
can. There are some scouts
Thank
of
you.
the Empire. I mean, it's smart of them pushing this side because I think they've learnt from their previous experiences that they have more cav GES than the Empire. So by pushing this side, they can, if necessary, there are different sections they can like corner off, like not noob square, but
The timer's up. You guys can start whenever. The timer's up. The
Oh.
timer's up. You guys can start whenever.
Yep.
Really.
yeah. Whereas the other side is very much about because all of this is open. So it's very
Yeah.
much easy to surround with cav.
Who is the finals or sorry, the Empire playing as?
Okay. So what
So
we
the
have here.
Empire, we
Go on,
have Palpatine as Doamroth
Okay.
and Anonymous as Umbar. And GES is Pen of Gillen for wall axle, and if I can find it, Lebanon or
Lebanon, okay.
1133. So yeah, it's a lot of what was it? The Gondor thieves,
Yes, right. And I
which
think you were
immediately,
right, Leo. I think they are starting to push up that right side right away.
yeah, immediately you can see all their cav going to the front. I think they might have seen each other from the cav. But, like by simply pushing around this side, it's not going to work out well for them if they do, because you can hold, I think, there. Very difficult because you don't have units to check if you can walk through it
And they
or not.
can't get through that water, can they? Through that lake?
Yeah, it's very difficult to see. Because like this water here, you can walk through, I think, but then this you can't.
Gotcha, yeah, which is going to make it
Very
very
difficult.
confusing for the defenders and attackers.
I think where my mouse, yeah, shallow water. So when it shows shallow water, we can walk through it.
Okay.
So in realistically, it's actually choke points like that. So it's much wider than what it looks.
It's a big difference, especially in a choke point.
Yeah. However, those lakes are solid there.
This is a
Oh,
difficult
imagine
map, I find.
just holding there and there for their last stand. Yeah, immediately you can see they've changed direction with some units because they've spotted cav. I think the engagement is definitely going to more come like that,
They'll have to.
or possibly
And this map is going
yeah,
to
you're right.
make both sides have to adjust constantly as well.
You can see they're already setting up a rear guard. So I think the plan is to hold here,
And the
also push
whole
around this far side because they expect a lot of cav, which they are now re-diverting. They're keeping their infantry ahead still. There we go.
I will say, in terms of for GES, this
They are
area that they're kind of
readjusting
setting
now.
up to battle
Looks like
each
what we're
other
going
on.
to see is a confrontation right here. Yeah.
Yeah,
how many
I,
shock cav
I,
units did Dalamroth bring?
Dal Amroth brought
Um,
3, and it looks like both members of the Empire brought 3, while both members of GES brought all 6 shock, or excuse me, all 6 cav. Also, I will say that the area they're choosing to fight each other is probably the most advantageous for GES because it's kind of like
yeah.
one of the nicest spots on the field, as nice as it gets. I think
It's
fighting
like the most
somewhere
field
over
battle like.
yeah, somewhere over here would probably be better for the Empire to fight on.
Yeah. Like what I originally thought is like the Empire set up like a rear guard there. So I thought maybe I have like a battle war happening just like this sort of area. Because it means it's very anti-cav almost. Like it's not
Yeah.
noob squaring, but against encirclement.
Oh, forces
Where
are starting to move.
I mean this is still quite good. Because there
In
is
general,
8
this
cav
is
for the
just
Empire.
it is in general just a harder cav battle, just overall.
Yes. I mean it rather than a field battle, it does favour the Empire more over a field battle because it's only like this stretch, which will be cav
Yeah.
by the looks of it. And that's probably gonna be infantry.
Now, I do think the Empire are going to leave 1 or 2 spears, or maybe all their spears, in the back. How many spears do they have? They do not have a lot of spears. Do they only have 2
The
spears
Empire,
from both of them? That is insane.
the
Yep.
Empire, they've fought 2 elite spears.
That
That's
is
it.
A lot of sword and shock.
Oh my
think
goodness.
Majority
GES
that
can
might have been
just
their downfall.
charge and charge and charge.
I think that is what they might do.
Also, all their cav is spears, whereas Doremov has brought a lot of shock.
I'm not sure what does better against other cav.
Well, shock cavalry is better against infantry because it has a higher impact.
Okay.
Or
Are,
it's
s-
better cycle charging.
are spears better against other cav?
Yeah. So spears are better than other cav.
Then
Swords are still good.
swords overall better in fighting.
Yeah. Or yeah, melee cav and spear cav.
All right, here's what I think is going to happen. GS is going to line their spears up because again, GS has the spears and the cav play together. GS is going to line their spears
Yeah.
up with their cav. They're going to walk them up together, and their cav will eventually charge into Dal Amroth's cav because again they have so much of them, and the spears will come in and help them.
I think
It looks like.
unfortunately. Sorry.
Oh, go ahead, Leo.
So I think unfortunately it already looks massively in favor of GES. Like you can see they already outnumber them on the infantry side. Almost like they aren't bringing over their spears to their cavalry. And some Aduna Corby, Pelego Marines, which will be good.
Now, the Aduna Kori, I do think will do a good job supporting against any cav. Like, if a cav takes the charge of another cav, the Aduna Kori then comes in to help. I do think the Aduna Kori will do well.
Yeah. I am surprised though that... Oh, okay. I do understand why now. I thought you could circle around this lake. I thought there would be some cav player with circling around that.
No.
But that is a solid...
That would be a sneaky move if you could pull it off.
This
It
is a
does look like it. It's
very, very little
shallow water
epic.
right there.
A little. This is a very epic standoff we have here. It's very cinematic.
Yeah.
Before long
I love it.
the water will be overflowing with the blood of all the soldiers, and yeah, it seems like the people of Middle Earth just can't stop having massive battles here.
And the battle has commenced.
For those who don't know, the Dead Marshes were created from the final battle ending the first death of Sauron, essentially. Death, but final defeat of Sauron.
Yep. Now I think if the Empire is going to win this, they need to start by winning the Archer battle.
Yes, I think that's probably where they keep. That's their only chance, honestly. If they can.
Go on.
Sorry, no.
But what I will say
And
is
they are sending in the shock.
I have time and time again seen GS beat them on the Archer front. However, it looks like they're starting to turn this around. It looks like they're now more decisively beating them. So maybe they've learned their lesson. Yep, and look, they're walking the archers up with, or excuse me, the spears up with the cav.
They are definitely supporting their cav more, the Empire this time.
This is true. They have the two spears over here on this flank with them, and they have some Aduna Kori, which I definitely think is the right play.
Yeah. Especially, yeah, the spears. Whilst they do have less, they are definitely more elite.
Man, the Empire is still not quite beating. I wonder if that focus firing enough. Oh, they switched off of this unit too soon. And the cav engagements have begun. I would quickly pull back that spear or this cav on the Empire side before GES's gets in there. Wow,
Infantry
they really
has begun as well.
This is just like this is the most Hollywood-esque battle we have here ever. Look at
I've
this.
just been taking a bunch of screenshots.
We just have a perfect line battle of just a mosh pit of people going into each other, and it does look like currently right now the Empire is actually winning the Archer battle. So if they can keep that up, that'll be huge. There is so much happening all at once. These units are going all into each other. I doubt the players themselves even have fully time to understand whether they're winning or losing.
Yeah. Well, just judging by how many units GES has in reserve, it looks like they have more in reserve, like with cav especially. But I do think, yeah, you can see Dramrov's elite shock is now heading into the front line, or both elite shocks. Oh yeah, some poor micromanaging here.
Looks like they're trying to push that sword unit around the side.
There's a massive gap here, which
Mm-hmm.
they haven't spotted.
Uh-oh. They probably don't know about it, is the thing.
Yeah, it's the issue of this map is you wouldn't know unless you like looked at it. It's that it actually came out to here.
And I will say
Thing
the
is,
Empire, I think the Empire took too long getting their shock in. I would have liked to have seen them get their shock in a bit more. The Empire's trying to put some cav through here to do something, but it's probably just going to
Yeah.
get swallowed up by enemy cav.
I
These
mean,
swords are just...
they're now sending in their general.
Yeah.
Oh, yep. Yeah,
There's
okay.
a general in
That's a
here.
little surprising to see.
If I'm the Empire, I see that. I turn all 3 of these archers just to shoot that general unit. Because, again,
Take that out. That's
breaking...
a big target right there.
Oh, they're getting the charge in on the general, which is huge. This is amazing that
think-
they're charging him.
Yeah. I think what I'd do is push the infantry up and just try and like surround this whole section.
Try to
Oh,
block them in.
absolutely. And I mean, quickly send these spears around. Yep, okay, he's sending the spears in. Good. Yeah,
Yeah,
but no, put these guys in. Literally, like you said,
Put them
box
to
in this
work.
unit. Do not let him escape.
Because I think Lebanon is also the lesser morale. So once the general is gone, they'll break much more easily.
Yeah,
He's
GS's
now trying to
general.
pull that archer unit out.
He's trying to get out, but I don't know that he's going to be able to. They need to. If they kill this guy, that'll be massive for him. But GS getting some really nice cav charges. Okay, they meant. The Empire managed to send around some Aduna Kori to help deal with these knights that were flanking on the side. These Aduna Kori will chew these knights up, so that is good for them. It looks like the archer battle is continued to being won by the Empire. It's not the greatest, but it's not the worst, and that's huge that their archers are countering the enemy archers so that they can't be putting those archers into the Aduna Kori. Because if I'm GES, honestly, my main worry is just shooting the Aduna Kori, and right now these Aduna Kori, for the first time, the Empire is really getting their money worth out of the Aduna Kori. The Aduna Kori are starting to do quite well here, so that is looking really good for GES. Or excuse me, looking really good for the Empire.
Now I see multiple archer units wavering.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like you see one of Dunakori here. It's because they've been fighting the cheap spears, but they've lost one guy to 110 kills.
Right. Now, I will say, GES is starting to clean up on the Empire's right flank, which is concerning, because if they can start enveloping quickly, that's bad. However, it looks like over here, this little battle right here, GS is losing it because there's this Aduna Kori, and if this Aduna Kori can turn around, he might not be able to win against all these guys, but he'll be able to hold against them.
Yeah, we do see there is a whole elite spear unit here, which has only lost 4 to the like 63.
And they are starting to
55.
pick on that general unit with archers, I see.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
Yeah, the
Absolutely
shock
torn
general is
apart.
almost dead.
They need to kill that shock general. I will say, over on the... Oh my gosh, over on Empire's left flank, they are getting massively
Well done.
surrounded by Cav, and he has got to use Arbeltazar, I'm guessing, to try and counter them. Yep, he is sending Arbeltazar to try and counter this flank, but if the shock on this flank, excuse me, the Cav on this flank can make something happen, that could be absolutely devastating for the Empire.
Yeah, because he can only tie down 1. So either way, archers are going to be hit.
I mean, if we're looking here, GS's front is it kind of crumbling? Losing
It looks
decisive
like it.
unit, losing.
On the right
On
side,
the
it
far
is.
side,
Yeah,
the center is holding more.
the center's holding. Unit losing
Far
decisive.
side is not.
No, I think the Empire is actually winning the field battle. In terms of like the front with the core units, the core infantry battle, I think the Empire is winning that. We're starting to see a lot of GS's units break. They've managed while GS did manage to get some really nice cav charges off, it wasn't. Oh, that was a devastating charge into some of those spears. I don't know that it's going to be enough because I'm not seeing. I don't know about you guys. I'm not seeing many of GS's horses left alive, and those that are pretty weak.
Almost all of them have less than half. There's one healthy unit there towards the far side. Fighting
They've got 5
spearmen and-
units. 5 healthy units left.
And the Empire it's basically dead even in units right now. But the Empire does have a slight numerical advantage. Not anything to brag about, but it's there. Oof, this cav charge might be bad.
barely 100
Considering
troops.
Considering GES started with 500 more, they are now 100 less,
Mm-hmm.
which really shows how the
And he's
Empire
gonna see
has actually
some
pulled through.
cav charges into those swordmen possibly.
Yep. No, again, they're getting the good cab charges in, but because of the location, they're just fighting on like a big hallway, and because of that, it's really difficult for them to use the cav. I would have really liked to have seen the moment GES saw them putting their spears up on this front line. I really would have liked to see them peel off 4 cav units to run around the back. I really think that would have been worth it, or even 2 of them. Just even if these 2 spearmen cav units didn't actually fight anything, it would still make the Empire worry about their flanks. It would force the Empire to micro more, and as the Empire has said, that is one of the areas that they struggle with against GES.
Once again, we do see a bit of lack of micro here. They've left 2 good units that they're
Yeah.
now getting pinned down by archers, whereas they could have got cav.
We can see that GS's general is trying to just run through all of the Empire's archers, and at this point the Empire is just trying to, I guess, blob up on this general to hold him down. The Empire's general just died. This could be devastating.
That
I mean,
is
look,
massive.
We do see a bit of a mass rout.
Oh,
Like,
no.
lower units.
Yeah,
This is very close.
And I just want to say in the last field battle, the Lamroth's general also died in that battle. He needed to keep the morale up on that unit, so that was a massive way to bring it around for GES. They definitely needed that. It's really great for them they got that. They're about to get an amazing charge right here into some Aduna Quarry, which they desperately need.
I mean, overall, we can see how much infantry Umber has left still. It's like half units or like a third of a unit. They got a lot of Umber usurpers and whatever else they got. Alphazons, Asgar. All very elite, just sword infantry, which they have a lot left.
And it looks...
It's gonna be close call.
Just all of the bodies strewn across this basically perfectly straight line. The blood and tears. I'm not sure which more there will be after this battle, but
All the men.
Lost.
So much death.
And the other thing, GES has 800 units. A lot of those are archers, which are out of ammo. So I think this tournament is gonna be handed over to the Empire.
I think you're correct.
GS does have slight cav advantage still. But
That's
if
true.
the second they lose that, then it is over.
Yeah, GS, again, I think 2 big things here. One, the map they're playing on and the little corridor they're fighting in. Not flanking well enough with the cav. That's one big thing. The next big thing, not shooting the Aduna Quarry. Even if you lose your archers, I would rather lose my archers to the enemy archers and kill the Aduna Quarry, because that's just how good the Aduna Quarry are.
I mean, yeah, we can see mass breaking now. I think it is over now. The Empire.
Yep. Horse unit is also breaking.
The Empire with Palpatine and his mouse tracker.
That is incredible. The man with the trackpad.
That's it.
No one said he could do it, but he did it. On the dead marshes, he killed basically his entire army.
Yeah.
But he did it and lost his general.
I mean, the crazy thing is, you see on the far side, that's been going on since the start of the combat.
Mm-hmm.
This
Still
elite
going
spear is
on.
held out against like 3 different spear units.
Yeah. And that's the
Yeah,
thing with
so you can
spears.
see
They
it's
don't need to
exhausted.
win. They just need to last.
Like, this is held out for what, 10 minutes in actual in-game time, at least. Whereas the rest of you can't really see the clear front line that happened.
Very clear.
Yes. No, it's right across the front.
You can
Beautiful.
see where the cav was because the speed that they attacked each other.
Yep.
Sort of
And now
broke up the straight line.
We can now see the mass routing, and with that, a winner of the tournament is decided.
Well done.
Well done. Congratulations.
Well done to them. We're gonna have to bring them in, do the end game interview with the champions of the tournament. The Empire, made of Anonymous, aka Morgoth, and Palpatine, have successfully won the very first Conquest tournament. Alright, Leo, why don't you go ahead and drag the winning team in?
Already done it.
Oh, beautiful.
That was a
I've
wonderful
done
watch.
everyone.
Oh, you dragged everyone in. Okay, that works too. Let's...
I mean, there's no hidden strategy now.
Yeah, that... I think we can... Yeah, that works. We can do that. Alright, well, congratulations to the Empire. You guys, like I said before, you guys are the official winners of the first ever Conquest tournament. So, that was a very hard fought back and forth. Fun fact, that was the first ever drawn battle we've ever gone to. So it was so unbelievably fitting having the draw battle be the finale, and the epic standoff you guys had in the Dead Marshes was so cinematic. Very beautiful. The Empire, let's first get your guys' thoughts. How are you feeling after winning that?
Damn, we're shaking.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean that the back and forth
I would
constantly.
like to congratulate our opponents. Thank you for giving such a nice fight. Every single battle was amazing. And as Mr. Dante said, it was fitting for the finales to have such a cinematic draw battle.
Yeah, no, the Dead Marshes, they definitely did live up to the name this time. I love how they didn't try to like. So we had like on the left side, on our right side, on their left side, we had a massive cavalry engagement.
Yeah.
And when they saw they weren't breaking through, I love that they maneuvered around, tried to find another hole, other opportunities to flank around. They didn't just, they went hard-headed in trying to push through. We were lucky. We had the Swan Knights. They actually held up very well, even when their spears engaged. So even though their micro was better, we just had the better units at the end of the day.
That's awesome. Yeah, and I mean there was that one tense moment there where at the end looked like you guys were cleaning up, and then GS managed to swoop in and pluck Palpatine's general, and then a bunch of his units started wavering, and we were like, oh my gosh, can they bring it back? Not quite, but it was
Yeah,
a
no.
little it was scary.
Palpatine was basically crying at that point. He was like, "Yeah, we lost my whole
Yeah,
army."
we lost the battle. I was like, no, bro, they cooked my army. And after this one, I was like, no, I'm going to keep fighting. And my units actually, because we had more units at the end of the day, we managed to not mass rout, and at least my army.
Yeah, no. Well, I will say one thing: they were definitely the most challenging team. I was already expecting them because I know them to be the most difficult match, but they definitely gave us a run for our money.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, with that, I know that 1133 can't speak, but W, do you have anything you want to say after such a close defeat? I mean, it really could have gone either way. Very much so felt like a roll of the dice, an amazing play on your guys' part. Do you want to have anything you want to say as the runners up?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah. I mean, congrats to the winners, of course. They played better, and yeah, it was a fun game. Fun games.
It was. So be on the lookout. We will be editing all of this together and putting it up on the YouTube channel. We're actually going to be launching a YouTube channel hopefully sometime next week. So be on the lookout for that so that you guys can, if you're interested in actually seeing the replays of your battle and any other videos in regards to all the stuff with the Conquest server that you're interested in, make sure to be on the lookout for that. With that, we're wrapping this up. Again, congratulations to the winners of the tournament, congratulations to the runners-up, and congratulations to all the people who aren't here who took the time to play in it. We will be sending out forms for you guys to fill out to give your feedback on how everything went. And the last thing I want to thank is the 5 people who are watching this far into the video on YouTube. Thank you to everyone who is watching. Make sure to go and sign up for the next tournament as that happens. Goodbye to everybody at home who's watching this. Bye-bye. Have a wonderful day. Goodbye. And with that,